Hey friend, welcome to my channel. I am Dee Dee Sonogo, and I normally talk about being a wife, mom, and a founder, but today I want to give you guys some insight into my recent hysterectomy. So if you're up to hearing about all the things that has happened to me in the last few weeks, stay tuned.
She's a wife, she's a mom, she's a founder. Girl, Dee Dee's in charge of what defines her. Starting a company, even with the family, can be somewhat demanding. But failure is never an option, so she takes each problem and solves.
First, I want to talk to you about how I got to this moment. And it was really one of those things that hindsight is 2020, but here we go. So I've had 3 C-sections. I had my kids at the age of 28, 30, and 31. I had them back to back. And so after having my last child, the doctor decided with me that I should get my tubes tied because having another baby was not going to be good for my health. And so I got my tubes tied. And so after that, I couldn't get pregnant anymore. And so that was kind of the beginning of the journey for me and the change of my anatomy when it comes to my periods. I never really had any terrible periods up until last year. I was regular, very light periods, even after having kids. But maybe after having my last C-section, hindsight is 2020, I noticed that I was having a little more clotting. And then as the years went by, I also noticed that I started to eat a lot of ice. It's hot in Alabama, but woo, it was just all the time I just wanted to eat ice. And so my doctor did blood work on me last year. And I knew that I was always kind of low iron because of that. But this time he was like, whoa, okay, so your iron levels are way low, 8 when it should be around, 14. So I had to start taking iron infusions. And so in 2023, I did maybe 5 rounds of iron infusion. And I really started to feel better because it takes 2 or 3 months before you could start to feel the change of the iron into your blood. And so I was thinking, okay, cool, that I should be fine. Well, I had a life change. And so in the middle of last year, we moved from Alabama to Texas on the hottest day of the year. But in that process, my family and I, I wanted to get them acclimated to the city. I wanted to make sure everyone was good. And talking to my doctors, they went ahead, gave me my prescriptions for 90 days and I could do telehealth calls. So I wasn't in a hurry to get a physician. But when it was time, I knew that I had to take care of their family, make sure that my kids had a pediatrician. And then it was now time for me to focus on me getting my team together. And so in the process of doing that, I found a great healthcare center that was more of a women's health center. So they could do pap smears, you could see the physician, you could do all the things, right, that women have to do 2 or 3 services for. So I met with my new physician and she was amazing. She did my checkup. I actually had to get blood work done. And in the time that she asked me if I had any questions, I said, yeah. I really felt like I wanted to talk to her about not so much my period, but my abdomen. My stomach started to get a little bigger. I was bloating a lot. And then I started to feel it was just a little heavy. So I thought because I had 3 C-sections that my scar tissue had built up and it was just a lot of pressure on my bladder. And so she did the physical exam, and in the exam, she noticed that there was something hard there. And as she pushed down, it started to move. And I was like, see, that's what I was thinking. It's just getting a little uncomfortable there. What should I do? And she was like, you need an ultrasound because that big old mass is not normal. So of course, I'm thinking, okay, let me just go and find out what's happening. So I go to my ultrasound appointment. I'm laying on the table. I'm talking to the lady, trying to figure out if she can give me something. And she was like, yeah, you have a few things going on in there. So I was like, okay, let me wait to hear back from my results. And so my doctor called me in and she was like, hey girl, hey, we need to talk. And so I was like, woo, let's talk. And so that's basically the background. That's kind of the quick and dirty that what has happened to me in 2023. My doctor read my results, and she told me, this is at the end of 2023, she said, okay, so you have a very large tumor, fibroid, whatever this is. It's a huge mass. It's measuring about 17 centimeters, and then you have 2 others that are in there on your uterine lining. So also the doctor said to me, well, it looks like you may have endometrial carcinomas. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, carcinoma, wait, isn't that cancer? And she was like, yeah, it's suspected that you may have cancer. And so I like you to go see a specialist, a gynecologist that can actually review your results. And I was like, wait a minute. Skirt, let's start over with that one. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Carcinomas. I'm healthy. I never had any issues, any symptoms, and now you're telling me that I could possibly have cancer. Okay, so I breathed and I was like, okay. I did slightly panic a little bit. I talked to members of my team, like in my close circles, and my boss happened to go through, so she had some really good references for me. And mind you, I just moved to the city, so I am not established with a doctor right now. So me having to get an appointment pretty quickly, I was just afraid that it was just going to take so long. So I am pretty resourceful. I do call, I do read reviews. I am, I had worked in healthcare for many years, so I kind of know the game and how it works. And I was able to call a few physician, gynecologists to see if I could get on the books. So I worked with my doctor's office, and it just seemed like everything was just so slow, but it really wasn't. It was probably like 2 weeks before I could get to see a physician. So I found a physician that was really right down the street from me. I went to go see her. First of all, she had the best bedside manner. She was just talking to her. She's a black girl from Alabama. I'm a black girl from Alabama. And here we are in Texas. And I'm saying to myself, okay, I feel your vibe. I love how you're, talking to me about this situation. Now I'm very calm and like, tell me, like, what is it? Do I have cancer? And she was like, okay, we're gonna go do another ultrasound because I would like for my team to read it and let us know what they think. And I was like, okay, cool. So now I have to go get another ultrasound. And then at the same time, I also have to get iron infusions because my levels were still very, very low, like close to blood transfusion. And at that moment, like hindsight is 2020, right? I was noticing that my periods, starting like the time that I moved to Texas, that they were just getting heavier. So I was filling up an ultra tampon and an overnight pad in an hour. And I was like, oh my God, I don't think this is normal. But, you just don't know when you get older, like what your body is doing. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'm getting older. I'm like getting close to menopause. Maybe this is the kind of things that happen. But no, I was telling my doctor that I have to get iron infusions because, I have very low anemia. I have anemia, and I just need to see the doctor, so that I could figure out what's happening. So she's like, you may have to take a colonoscopy because you're close to 45. So maybe we should put that on the books. Maybe you should just complete your blood, your iron infusion, but you may not need it after I take out this big mass. And I was like, let's talk about this mass. Okay, so so I went to go get another ultrasound, and my tech was very amazing. She basically was able to look at my ovary because in my last scan, one of the fibroids was covering my left ovary, and she couldn't tell if it was if it was okay or not. And so she got to do all the things, and my doctor was like, it's not cancer. You just have big tumors, and we have to do further work. Like once I do the surgery, will determine like if you need to do any further treatments. And I was like, okay, well, if you don't think that it's cancerous, like what are my options? And she said, well, I think because this is so big, you're gonna want to get this taken out. And I was like, but I just had 3 C-sections. You know, I told her my history of my doctor saying that you don't need to get cut again down there. It just may not work well because, you know, more bleeding and all the things. And I was like, well, you know, are you sure? Don't need surgery? And she was like, yeah, pretty much. You're going to need surgery, sis. And then I asked her, I said, well, how do you even get fibroids? Like, what does this even mean? You know, and I've had like pap smears regularly, okay, every year. And nobody ever said anything to me about fibroids, never. And until I was listening to my body, and now I have this big old mass in me, and I noticed that my stomach started getting bigger. And so I was like, okay, well, this is probably pretty normal. So it's not normal, guys. It's not normal. So that's my first tip. Listen to your body. Like feel around and see, you know, if there's changes down in your pelvic area. Because again, like by the time I had surgery, like I was really bloated. Okay. So let me fast forward to where we are right now in the present state. So I completed my infusion for iron, and that went well. And so I had to get my hysterectomy scheduled because she did recommend that I have one. And I was really afraid. So my mom, who also had 3 C-sections, also had a hysterectomy, gave me really good advice. And she was like, hey, I survived it. You're going to be just fine. You know, it's best that you take care of this now before it gets really bad, because I was really just at the cusp of really having like terrible experiences. I think even for the first time last year, I had messed myself. Like my period just got so heavy that I was at work and I had to go home and change my clothes because it just got so heavy and I couldn't keep up with it. And she was like, yeah, you don't have to deal with that anymore. And so I was concerned about sex. Like, is sex going to be the same? Will I still have an orgasm? Like all the things that you don't know, like what actually is having, you know, like what's happening to your body. And anyway, she was like, girl, it's going to be just fine. Like orgasms are even better. You know, your mood is even good. It's like pray that we can like keep your ovaries, and so you don't have to take any of the hormones. And so that's what she did. So mom came down, and my wonderful husband and my 3 children, they were so super supportive. And so I was getting ready for that experience. And so what I did before my surgery, and I found some really amazing channels on YouTube. Thank you, sisters, for posting your experience, because let me tell you, not many people talk about hysterectomies. I think even my husband was uncomfortable with me telling my friends that I was having a hysterectomy. Like he did something wrong. You know, I'm saying this is normal. Like, you know, these are things that happen to women. This is a part of sexual health. These are all the things that men and women need to both be talking about, right? And so anyway, I couldn't find many people that had an abdominal hysterectomy. So I found a lot of laparoscopic ones, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to try to just, you know, find the advice of, you know, what could I do to get prepared? And so here are a few things that I found very helpful, that some amazing sisters, and I'll have to find those channels and link them in the video. One of the things that was very helpful is preparing my home. I cleaned, I basically washed all of my clothes. I did everything that was important before, because I didn't want to have to lift anything and do all those things that I couldn't do like after having surgery on the abdomen, because I knew what it felt like to have C-sections. So cleaning my house, making sure that my sheets are clean, making sure that, you know, my refrigerator was stocked, and then like buying all the underwear. I bought some C-section underwear. I thought those were very helpful because I knew having a C-section in the past, it was going to be kind of the same cut. So that was also helpful. I started taking Miralax a few days beforehand, just so that I could have a regular bowel movement, because before I was super constipated all the time, and so I was afraid to have to push and do all those things. I also got jogging suits that was comfortable for me leaving the hospital. That was also very helpful. And then just, the regular creature comforts, like making sure that I had protein, because after surgery I knew it was going to be important to have the right diet. And so I stocked my pantry as much as I could, and I packed my bag. Like I was going to the hospital to have a baby. So that was very helpful, like having all the things available kept my stress level down. And so I do recommend, before you have surgery, go do that. Okay, so the day of my surgery, it was peaceful. I got a good night's sleep the night before. My mom took me to the hospital so that my husband can get my kids off to school in time, and he met us at the hospital after he dropped the kids off. But I got there, it was a beautiful morning, 9 o'clock. I checked in. I had to do all the things right. And then, like, before my surgery, actually before I even had the surgery, my period came back on. It came back on the Sunday before my surgery, which was on a Wednesday. I forgot that. Oh my God. I was like, you're like the ex-boyfriend that don't want to go away. Like, bye. I don't want to see you. I threw away my pads, or I gave it to my girls. I was like, get this out of my sight. I don't need these anymore. I can burn my period panties. And here comes my period again. Like, what is this? What is this? Anyway, so I was at the end of my period, and I was like, hey, my cycle came back on, and it was like, girl, it's all good. You finna get rid of this uterus anyway, so just remove the tampon. We'll have to put like a pad on the bed because, this is part of life. And I was like, okay, great. So I always ask for the clergy before I have my surgery. And so once I got settled in the bed, my mom was there keeping me like laughing. I'll have to show a clip of me with this, like the new surgery attire was it was super cute. I feel like it was like a fashion moment. So anyway, so I was able to, get comfortable in the bed. And then like the next thing I knew, like the team was like coming in. They were coming in to the anesthesiologist. I was doing my pre-check, and then I had to go boo-boo. I had to do the number 2. So the Miralax worked. And I don't know if it was my nerves, but I got to go use the bathroom before my surgery, which I think was very helpful. So I get back in the bed, and then like the clergy came to pray with me, which I've always done before all of my C-sections. Like, I just need a moment of prayer, because we want the best outcomes, but like I just need to know that God is with me, God is with the surgery team. And for me, that was what was keeping me calm, knowing that life is bigger, God is amazing, and that I just needed to have a moment of prayer. And amazing team, they prayed with me. My physicians came, prayed with me. She held my hand, and then at that moment, I just started to cry. I was just so emotional. I don't even know what came over me. I was laughing and joking, and in that moment, I was like, oh my God, this is very serious. I'm finna have a hysterectomy. This is a major surgery. Yeah, I know they do $600,000 a year, but this is me. And there could be a small chance I'm not gonna get up. So I freaked out. It was okay, of course, I'm still alive. Everything was fine, but I just had to have that moment of reflection and just be really honest with what I was feeling. So, girl, so I really had like a Black Girl Magic team. Like, my anesthesiologist was Black, my nurse, my charge nurse, she was Black, my physician was Black, and one of the anesthesiologists that was supporting on that team was a white guy, and he was just laughing. He was like, I've never seen a happier patient. Like, you are just so excited today. And I was like, yes, this is going to be a new beginning for me. It's going to be a new beginning. So my anesthesiologist, she gave me some medicines, and y'all, like, she gave me that cocktail, And I remember saying, oh, okay, that's cool. I believe it was less than 30 seconds I was out. I don't remember rolling back to the surgery room. At that point, I was like, take me out, put me to sleep, because I don't want to feel this nerve. So I don't remember saying like goodbye to anybody. They rolled me out. I woke up after surgery and I was like, oh my God, I'm still here for a reason, God. There's still an appointment, an assignment over my life. So thank you. And it was just kind of that moment, like, okay, like your time on this earth is still warranted. So like do the best you can in the time that you have. And so I had to just take a moment to say, thank you, God. I'm still here. So I got up, I got to see my husband, my mom was there, and I was in and out for the first 24 hours. And so let me take you to the after surgery part. This part was very interesting. After the surgery, I was very nauseous because I can't do pain medicine. Any of the anesthesia, it gives me the chills. I think it was Dilaudid, just made me vomit. And so I got up, I was like, okay, Mom, I'm really nauseous. I need the trash can. And I just started throwing up really bad. I was like, oh my God, this is disgusting. So that was the first feeling that I got when I woke up. And I think from an abdominal standpoint, of course, it hurt. I could feel it, but maybe because I've already had 3 C-sections and I'm kind of numb down there, it wasn't as intense. And so all in all, like having the cut and going through that part from an abdominal hysterectomy, I was actually okay. I was okay. And so after a while, they put their compressions on me. And I was like, hey, I think I'm able to get up and move around, take this catheter out of me. And so by the end of the day, because I had a abdominal hysterectomy, that I had to stay overnight in the hospital. So, and then with my insurance company, they only want me to stay 1 day, but listen, you need at least 2 or 3 days. And so my doctor was like, it's cool, you're gonna stay here as long as you need to stay. And so because I was very nauseous and couldn't keep anything down, she thought that I would be good to stay another night. And so the first night was cool. My mom slept on the couch right next to me, and she was just so amazed. She was like, don't bend down, don't touch nothing. Girl, you just had surgery. Let people do the things for you. And I was like, oh my gosh. What is that? Like, what do you mean? I'm usually the very independent one, but Mom was like, sit down somewhere. Like, it's okay. Because I started to get up and move around. You know, that's kind of what I heard to do, is like, get up, move around, make sure the blood is flowing. But when you have an abdominal hysterectomy, like, you really do have to take your time. And so I did get up after they took the catheter. I was able to pee pretty fast because I had my little emotional support cup. It was not one of the Yetis or the Stanleys. It was actually the hospital issue cup, y'all. That cup is now my new best friend. I mean, it's very efficient. Anyway, I got through the first night. The next night, they came in with my breathing things, with, you know, making sure that I was up and running. I told her to stop me on those medicines, like the big narcotics. I just didn't want it. It was just making me too nauseous. Even with giving me the what was it? The anti-nausea medicine. I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to do that. So I just started doing ibuprofen, and she bumped me down to something that wasn't a narcotic, and I started to feel better. Like, it was really amazing that I started to feel better, because that was not a good feeling. As far as my stomach, like, yes, I can walk around, I could do all the things, but like coughing, sneezing, ooh, even now is crazy, because I'm officially 3 weeks out. It'll be 3 weeks tomorrow. 3 weeks tomorrow that I have gone through my surgery. And so I was able to, you know, have a good experience at the hospital. My physician came and sat next to me, and she showed me what came out of me That was huge. It was measuring like 16 weeks gestation, like you're carrying a child. I'm gonna put a clip in. I want you guys to see how big this doggone thing was. It was huge. Huge. And I'm saying, that was inside of me? Oh my gosh. Listen, I'm just gonna pause. I saw one YouTube from a gentleman. He was a younger physician talking about hysterectomies, and he suggested that women should not have a hysterectomy unless it's life or death. But let me tell you something. Your quality of life means everything. If you aren't comfortable, if you're in there, can't leave your house, if you have to leave your work to change your clothes because your cycle is so heavy, forget that. This, even just 3 weeks, out having surgery, I feel amazing. But I got it in my head that like something was wrong, that I'm gonna be like, this woman who can't have kids anymore, which I couldn't have anyway because I already had my tubes tied. But sometimes men, that was his perspective. And maybe from a medical standpoint, he had good reason to say so. But for my life, I just felt it was the right thing for me to go ahead and have my hysterectomy so that I can have a good quality of life. And trust me, I feel amazing. And so, coming home from the hospital, I decided to sleep on the couch. We have a really amazing couch that's long enough, because I'm 5'10", long enough for me. And my husband put all the creature comforts around me and checked on me. But I did not want to sleep in the bed because he's definitely a cuddler and he snores a little bit. But anyway, I just needed sleep. So another tip that I would like to give you, the ice pack was my best friend. When I laid on the couch, I laid where my pillows gave me a little of an incline. I couldn't lay flat because trying to get up and roll off the couch was really hard. And so I kept my ice packs. I filled them up. I put them in the freezer every night. For the first 2 weeks, I used ice packs throughout the day, round the clock. Like, I would get up, I would walk around or whatever, but then I would go back and lay down and put the ice pack on me. And so I maintained my Miralax. I drank a ton of water. And then also, again, had to do a lot of protein things. One of the things that my insurance company, who sent me a case manager, called, and she really explained to me, like, what happens to your body now that you don't have a uterus, you don't have, I have no fallopian tubes, like all the things that make me a woman is gone. Like, I still have my ovaries, thank God. But I said, well, what happens, to what's your anatomy looking like now? And so she was like, yes, now that you've had surgery, it's really important that you eat a lot of protein. So, a handful of nuts, almonds, make sure that you do eggs, like something that you like to eat, but don't just eat vegetables and smoothies, which for me, I didn't want to eat anything hard because I was thinking it was going to make me constipated. But now that I don't have a uterus anymore and that big old fibroid in me, I actually have better bowel movements. It's clutch. So that was one of the gifts that just from, doing the research beforehand, I was still able to have a good bowel movement, have a good diet. But, I just stayed home. So my mom was here to help. She helped cook. She helped clean. She helped get my kids, who are teenagers, to remind them that, hey, this is my child. And do not have her lifting, bending, cleaning. She will do none of the things. She was like, no, she will do none of the things. And so she was right. I just needed to slow down. And that's been my biggest problem. I'm not trying to hurry my recovery because let me tell you something. Having a hysterectomy may be tough on the body, but the rest and relaxation and the recovery, now that I'm feeling amazing, oh my gosh. It is amazing. Like, I get to watch all the shows, read all the books, sit outside in this amazing spring weather and just be. Woo. So I'm not saying saying? Like, don't have a hysterectomy because, it hurts. Like, seriously, take the 6 weeks. And because I had an abdominal hysterectomy, I need to take all the time, and I will. I know my boss is like, hey, when are you coming back to work? I'm like, bro, it hasn't even been 3 weeks yet. I probably started doing remote work maybe week 5. I'm gonna give myself another full week of recovery and started to ease my way back. And because I didn't have a lot of appetite, I didn't eat a ton. But y'all, listen, I end up losing after surgery 8 pounds. Can you believe that? That massive thing that came out of me. I mean, you saw it. That was huge. So, like, really, 8 pounds down, not really a lot of appetite. Really, it was probably week 2 that I started to get my appetite back. Like, really, just last week, I started to feel normal, that I wanted to eat some of my favorite foods again. But here's one of the things that I wanted to share that happened to me, that if you have an abdominal C-section, please be on the lookout for this, okay? Because I've had 3 C-sections, I was really concerned about what my incision was going to do. And so I was extra, I don't know, I was just always looking at it. And maybe that was the first problem. After surgery, and the doctor took my bandage off when I had my 1 week checkup, my incision was not completely closed. And I was really concerned about that. Like, it was laying on top, like the skin was laying on top of each other like that, but it just didn't, it was still kind of, I could see kind of white still. I could see the insides a little bit, not my guts or anything, but like the fascia inside. I was able to see it, and I was really concerned that I was going to get an infection. And so my doctor she had to do more of the surgical glue just to lay it down a little bit more, and that really burned. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. So it took really the rest of the night for it to calm down a little bit. So just, look at your incision site, make sure it's healing correctly. It actually is taking 2 weeks, like just a few days ago, I don't have any secretion. It was even to the point where when I put on my underwear, you could see the line where the incision was. It was like still runny, leaky. And apparently that's what it takes to heal it. I mean, it's trying to build a scab or something to keep everything together. And so maybe it's normal for you to see, have that secretion. That's something I was not expecting, but just be on the lookout for it. Now it's starting to lay like it's supposed to. I, have a slight keloid, which is normal for Black women apparently, but it is definitely looking good. Like the site looks good. I've noticed that my abs, I don't have to suck in the gut anymore because it literally feels like they took a baby out of me. So my stomach is flat, but I did ask if I could do one of the waist trainers just to kind of hold everything in, because like when I get up from the couch, I could feel like the strain and the pull. And so she said it was fine to wear a waist trainer, but not so tight. So I do, in fact, keep a waist trainer on. That was one of the things that I thought was, very helpful for me. So I did my ibuprofen up until 2 weeks. I still feel soreness. And so I wanted to stay on top of that control of pain. It's not really pain, it's just sore. But, I don't want it to go backwards while I'm like in pain and I can't move or anything. And so I started introducing some walking. I walked a 15-minute, I think at the 2 week mark, I walked in my neighborhood for 15 minutes. And I realized that was probably too soon to move that fast. So when I came back, again, my incision wasn't completely healed. So, I don't think that was the best thing. Like, move small, but I really just had so much energy, and it was a beautiful day outside, and I just wanted to walk. But for me, I probably should have waited. So now that I'm in week 3, I'm probably going to introduce a little more walking. I'm getting prepared to go back to work. I'm prepared to do my 6 weeks. However, I may do one more full week of recovery and just started to slowly introduce some reading, just kind of work that I do. I mean, I can do it at home, but I do want to get back on track because this recovery is nice. I don't even know if I want to go back to work after this. I mean, where is the lottery? I need to play the numbers because if I could do this all the time, I'll probably get bored. But anyway, I've really enjoyed my recovery. Oh, and I needed it after my 2023. 2023 was a lot. I mean, again, I moved from the state of Alabama to the state of Texas on the hottest day of the year. My family, my teenagers, my husband started a new job. They started new school. And I was already working in Texas. And so I kind of already was used to the area a little bit. But having all the family together in that transition was a lot of change. And so just to sit down and just reflect on all the things that happened in 23, I think it's really helping me to see the future of 24 and beyond. You know, when I woke up and I was like, God gave me more time to complete my assignment. All the things that I've been wanting to do, now that I'm quiet and sitting still, it's truly starting to come up to the surface, you know, and I'm allowing it to come up. And one of the things that's kind of hard sometimes is like when you're a mom, your wife, like you're really trying to get your family where your family needs to be, but you're also human, and God also gave you an assignment. And like I tell my husband all the time, when judgment day comes and I'm standing in the front of my maker and he asked me if I completed the assignment that he gave for me, and I said, no, my husband didn't allow it, or my children didn't allow it, or there was no time, he's gonna have something to say to me, not them. So remember, we all have to meet our maker. We all have an assignment, and whatever that assignment is that's burning inside of you, when you get quiet, my suggestion is just to do it. Just find your way to that alignment and that calling and just be in it. You know, so that's been a gift. To sit and recover has just given me a gift of just relaxation. So I guess before I leave, I wanted to also just say, if you made it to this point, please like and subscribe. Please do all the things. Leave your comment in the comment section. You know, are you having an abdominal hysterectomy? If you have, what was it like for you? What should I be doing different? Do you have any tips for me or other women who's gonna find this page, find this video, and they may be afraid, scared, not knowing what to do, maybe feeling some kind of way? Let's support each other throughout this, because let me tell you something, I'm gonna lean in. I've posted on Facebook after my surgery that I was having a hysterectomy, and the amount of women that slid in my DMs to say, I was thinking about it, or I had it, or I'm getting ready to have it, was just so many. Many women aren't talking about hysterectomy. I don't understand why it's such a big deal. This is a part of life. It's a part of your sexual health. It's a part of who you are. You know, when you have all the things trying to make a child, it's all of this is a part of it. And I think maybe at this age, a lot of women around my age range are having hysterectomies now. I'm not sure why, but we are, and we just need to support each other. You know, sometimes I think my husband feels a little embarrassed that I had a hysterectomy sometimes. And although he's great, and he's been very supportive, you know, he was like, why did you post that? And I'm saying, do you know the information that I was looking for that I could not find when I was trying to figure out how to prepare myself for a hysterectomy? It was not a lot. Nobody talks about it. So we stopped today. We're gonna talk about hysterectomies. We're gonna talk about all the things that are happening to our bodies. We're gonna support each other, and we're gonna be all good because we have a sisterhood like none other. And I appreciate you for coming to hear my story, and I definitely want to support you in any way that I can and share any resources that have been helpful for me. I plan to come back in a few weeks after my 6-week mark to let you know how I'm doing after 6 weeks. But thank you for coming to this page and hearing my story up until this point. I appreciate you guys so much. So until next time, have a good rest of your day and good luck with your hysterectomy.